probably know that the Nurgle is very strong in the Abyss. But what about 2 Retribution and a Deacon? In this video I'm gonna show you how you can make around 900 million ISK per hour with 2 Retribution and a Deacon doing T5 Firestorm Abyssals. So this setup has 2 beam Retribution and a Deacon. One of the beam Retribution is supposed to be the tank, which is this one that I show you here. With this ship you're gonna move first in any room to draw the aggro onto this ship. Then all reds will shoot it and then it can tank a little bit longer before they switch to the other ships. And it is also fitted so that it can tank a full Kikimora room, so it is very important to always move this ship first. You can actually change the beam lasers to pulse lasers or use a Nurgle as well. I talked about the advantages and disadvantages of each of those options in this video that I link here, so check that out. It has to use a storyline remote armor repair because any other doesn't fit because of the power grid. In the mids we have an AB and battery, lows heatsink, multi-spectrum, thermal Hardner and a reactive Hardner, and rigs we have a DPS rig and a thermal armor rig to get some more thermal resistance, because Firestorm reduces thermal resistance and that means that trick reds do way more damage there. Then this is the DPS Retribution. It is basically the same as the tank one, just that it has a third heatsink instead of the reactive Hardner. You just swap that out for a heatsink, and there you can actually use a Corelli A-type repair. You have to swap the Gisti A-type to a Corelli A-type AB and then it fits. On the tank one this doesn't fit like that. Yeah, and the rest is basically just the same. And again, if you use pulse on the tank you always use beam on that Retribution. Don't use pulse on both because then you will have issues with Sansha rooms and other rooms where there is a lot of tracking disruptor and sensor damping. And for the implants, they are not listed here. What I would recommend is that you use a 3% turret damage and rate of fire implant as well as cap capacity and the hull upgrade to get more armor HP. And for the drugs you should use Pyro 2, Synth Mind Flood and Synth Frantics for more range, DPS and cap. With the repair off it is actually cap stable, and if you have the implants and that boost then it should just be around cap stable with that running. And you only really use that to repair the Deacon if it gets a lot of aggro. Optional implants are like the Raptor or Amulet for more tank or even more cap, but in T5 they aren't really needed. This could theoretically also do T6, but in T6 they will time out against triple Deepwatcher room. So I would stick to T5 with dual Retribution and do T6 only if you either have a pulse Retribution or a Nurgle. And now this is the Deacon. This remote repairs in the high, AB and battery, and lows are full tank and with a power relay for some more cap. And on the Deacon you're gonna use a standard or improved mind flood depending which of those is available. Sometimes they can be really expensive, so then you want to use a standard. and for implants it's hull upgrades, cap management and capacitor system operation. For more cap and a little bit more tank. Yeah, and these are the fittings. Now I'm gonna show you each individual room. Against the Vedmak room, what you're going to do here is to move away from tracking towers and blue clouds as far as possible, and then you sit still in one place. With that the Vedmaks are going to out-track themselves because they are orbiting you with very high speed. And this only works if you are not inside a blue cloud or near tracking tower. You kill starving Demaviks first and then kill ghosting Demaviks if there are a lot. And then you go for the starving Vedmaks and finally for the harrowing Vedmaks. And after that you kill any remaining Demaviks. Sometimes the harrowing Vedmaks follow a striking Demaviks. In that case you use Gleam to kill those Vedmaks quicker. This room is actually one of the hardest rooms for this setup because the Vedmaks can actually do a lot of damage once they spool up a little bit. So kill them as fast as possible. In the Kikimora room, if there are more than 6 Kikimoras, you want to use all 3 reps from the Deacon on the tank Retribution that draws the aggro in this room. But before you kill the Kikis, you want to kill any starving Demaviks first, because you do not want any ship to be out of cap. Because if your Hardner turns off for the reps on the Deacon, then you die in a very short time. The Kikimoras do not switch targets except for one and sometimes the Demavik. This means that you're gonna take care of the Deacon and the second Retribution with your tank Retribution. Should you see that one of those take damage, then just turn on the rep on that ship that takes damage. Like in this case there is one ship shooting the DPS Retribution, so I just rep it up with the tank Retribution. And you just kill one after the other Kikimora. And if damage even goes high, then you can even overheat your thermal Hardner for more tank, but it tanks like 10 to 11 Kikimoras with all reps on it perfectly fine. And if there are Rodivas and Trekkervax, then you kill some Kikimoras until there are like 6 left, and then kill the Rodivas so that you can kill the remaining Kikimoras quicker because they have a lot of remote repair on them. For the Leshak room, you want to wait the invulnerability timer if you get this in room 2 or 3, so that you get closer to them first. And you kill any starving and blinding Leshaks first before killing the rest, because they each move away individually. And the striking and tanklings and renewings, they usually come either closer or stay together. Sometimes there are also rogue drone frigates in this room, and if they come close, this means that any striking or renewing Leshak will also come close. But the starving and blindings, they each move away individually, and tanklings orbit at around 12 kilometers. So this means that you want to actually optimize the way how you move in this room so that they all move away from you in about the same direction and not spread out into the whole room, because then it will take a long time to complete this room. So keep that in mind when you do this room. In the Deepwatcher room, you're gonna take the loot, kill any cruiser and frigates that burn to you, and then you just orbit them close and kill them with Gleam. If there is no tower, then you can also use the drone of the Deacon for a little bit more DPS. And as I said, in T6 you will run out of time if you get this room 3 times, because in T6 there are 4 Deepwatchers and they take way more than 6.5 minutes to do, especially in minus 50% penalty. Against Karen, you want to keep transversal up to her as high as possible, and you kill any newts and webs first before killing the rest. Because webs will slow you down and newts will empty your cap, and that makes it more likely for Karen to hit you and even do a wrecking shot. So kill any webs and newts first. In that room I usually kill the webs first and then the newts, because after some times they slow down and fall back behind you. So it is actually not a bad idea to kill webs before newts in that room and just burn away from the rest to get to Karen. Like in this case, the cruisers are already like 20 kilometers or even further away. And when you are close at Karen, orbit her close and use Gleam to kill her quicker. And in this case I even leave some cruisers around to optimize this site a little bit when I'm at Karen, and then I kill the remaining cruisers on the way back to the cache. But webs and newts have to always go first before going to Karen. Against the Ephialtes cruiser room, you just hit approach on the cache, anchor everything on your tank Retribution and kill one after the other. And newts have to go first and then you can kill the rest. What I do in this room is that with one Retribution I lock the targets from the top towards the bottom, and with the other from the bottom towards the top, to optimize this room a little bit. But on newt cruisers always focus them with both Retribution to kill them quicker. At the beginning you want to have 2 reps on the tank Retribution so that you can tank that, but once some of those ships go, then you tank it fine with just 1 rep on each of the ships. Against the sleeper cruiser room, you want to kill newts first and then the rest. You want to start with the drifter cruisers because they start pre-damage and the sleeper cruisers will repair them up. And if you kill them first, then they don't get as much repair, and then it actually makes you complete this room a little bit quicker. And actually this is a case where there were a lot of newts, so I had to kite them initially. So if there are like more than 5 sentinels, then you wanna kite this room at the beginning, but 4 or less, then you can just hit approach on the cache to get quicker into multi-frequency range. As the drifter cruisers approach you a little bit faster than the sleeper cruisers, which makes it actually a little bit more useful to kill them first before going to the sleeper cruisers. And once those drifter cruisers are gone, just kill the sleepers. And for the angel room, you can also just hit approach on the cache and then kill the non-elite Cinnaballs, then the elite Cinnaballs and then the rest. The non-elite Cinnaballs, they die quicker and actually remove a lot of newt pressure and a lot of DPS from you. The elite do a little bit more DPS, but they take a lot longer to kill, which is why I kill non-elite Cinnaballs first before the elite ones. Then afterwards kill the frigates. They do basically almost no noticeable damage at all. The Cinnaballs are the only real threat in this room. For the Sansha room, start by kiting out some of the frigates first, especially heralds, lookouts and smiths, as they use tracking disruptor, sensor dams and newts. You want to kill them quickly. And then if there are knights, try to spiral into them closely. They do not have a lot of tracking. And once some of these annoying frigates are gone, then you can actually start moving into them, because the fewer there are, the less DPS is around, and you should be fine to tank around 10 to 12 of those frigates. But at the beginning I would kite out some of them, especially tracking disruptors and newts, because these are the real threat in this room. The knights actually web and newt you if you get closer than 10 kilometers towards them. So it is sometimes a good strategy, if there are many of them, to stay between 10 and 15 kilometers to kill them, so that you do not get neuted out or get heavily webbed, because in that case they will move away in a straight line and then they actually can hit you and they do a lot of damage. In the Marshal room it is important to keep speed as high as possible, and you kill any web and newt frigate first. Once these are gone, kill the newt cruisers and marker pacifiers, and then finally the Marshals. The Marshals usually stick around the gate, they are very slow, but the frigates and cruisers they burn to you very quickly, which makes it sometimes useful to kill them first before going for anything else. If there are a lot of Marshals and some frigates, then it can actually be helpful to pull range first, because Marshals only have around 70 kilometers range, so that you can kill some webbing and newt frigates first without having to worry about the Marshal DPS a lot. Also, the Ingame ships, they use water projects and their DPS spreads to other targets, so in some cases it can be helpful to keep them alive until the end, so that you can also use their DPS to clear this room faster. In the drone frigates room, you just approach the cache or move towards the cache, and then you kill any spark and ember frigates first, because they shoot into your resistance hall of the Retribution. Strike and blast needles are less of a problem, because they do damage against which the Retribution has a lot of resistance. They actually die very quickly. What you have to keep in mind is if there are multiple drone types like Embers plus Blast plus Strike, then it can actually be dangerous, because your reactive might switch to 1 damage times, but then the other do way more damage. So in that case I would always start with the Spark and Embers and keep the Strikes and Blast for the end. And for the Overmind, you kill anything that webs or target paints you at the beginning, because these will help the Overmind to hit you easier. And once these are gone, kill sensor dampers and tracking disruptors while you spiral towards the Overmind. And once these are gone, then focus on the Overmind until it is gone. Sometimes there are spark needles in this room, and they can actually make the Overmind come close to you. In this case, you keep them alive and just orbit the Overmind at around 500 meters and shoot it with Gleam. If there are no spark needles in this room, then you have to push the Overmind into the edge of the room, because the Overmind will web you, and with web on you, then your Retribution is basically around the same speed as the battleship, meaning it is not possible to get a stable orbit around that battleship. So in that case, all you can do is push it into the edge of the room and then keep transversal up. And just like with Karen, transversal is your tank, because the Overmind will do a lot of damage if it hits you. For the drone Battlecruiser, you draw aggro on the tank Retribution and then send the DPS into them close. Because just like the Kikimoras, the drone Battlecruisers do not switch targets except for one, meaning that the tank, the DPS Retribution, always just has to tank one of them, which is no problem. And with that you can actually clear this room quicker. Yeah, and this is how you do T5 Firestorm Abyssals with 2 Retribution and a Deacon. I hope you found this video helpful. If you liked, then please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.